All right, so this is a long time in the making, but I actually want to start talking about the Phantasm series. The original Phantasm, I prefer to review that with my buddy Jack. However, today what I want to talk about is Phantasm OblIVion, Phantasm 4 OblIVion. They took the IV in OblIVion and they made it a Roman numeral 4. As you can tell from many of my other videos, this is one of the shirts that I'm wearing, a Phantasm shirt. It is my favorite sci-fi horror series of all time. I grew up watching the original Phantasm. My father let me watch it when I was like 7 years old. He just taped Jeopardy over like the nude scenes, and other than that, he just basically let me watch it. Super cool, campy in parts, really weird, otherworldly, kind of dreamlike, really cool series. Now, most people prefer the original Phantasm or Phantasm 2. It's usually one or the other that people like really go for. Me personally, I like the first Phantasm the best. However, as far as the sequels are concerned, I like the fourth one the best. They really bring it back to the beginning. All right, now Don Coscarelli, the director of all the Phantasm movies except for Ravager, essentially, I mean, he really left off for a fourth movie. The end of Phantasm 3 was a total and complete cliffhanger, and it wasn't like one of those cliffhangers where it's like you can sort of speculate what happened. It's like, no, it left off for another movie. He owed us another movie, okay? So Phantasm OblIVion comes out 4 years later, and I am super fucking stoked. And I remember, I don't remember why, but at the time in the late 90s, that VHS was like impossible to come by. And finally my dad found a VHS copy of it on eBay for like $13, and he bought it for me, and I was just like, dude, thank you so fucking much. Now, a lot of people criticize it because it operates at sort of like a slower pace than a lot of the other movies. They also argue the fact that there is, and I mean legitimately, there is like 20 minutes to a half hour of the movie that is basically like deleted scenes from the original Phantasm. I personally didn't mind that. They showed a bunch of scenes that were not in the original Phantasm movie. It was all like extra shit that they had cut out. And I mean, honestly, considering the low budget that Don Coscarelli was operating on, he used all of his resources. To continue in the series and to kind of bring it back to like its, sort of subtle roots, it's like, yes, the new footage was probably only about an hour long in total. And the new shit that they shot really brought the series back to the beginning, because all of the sequels to Phantasm are very unique. The kind of like nightmarish oddity that was the original Phantasm, that in certain ways didn't even really make any sense, they brought it back to that. And I think that was where the series belonged. And it's like, I have more fun going back and watching it from the beginning through and through, seeing all the epic things from part 2 and 3, and then coming back to that sort of creepy, monster in the dark, kind of nightmarish, disjointed, like, oddity that really is Phantasm at its core. It really helps to flesh out the main antagonist, the tall man. We learn a lot about him in this movie, about his origins. There's also a lot of shit, and this is part of the thing too. There's also a lot of shit that is left unexplained. All right, we find out that this guy, the tall man, was once a mortician, and he was a human being, and he was actually kind of a pretty nice guy. But he was a scientist and an inventor on the side, and he created this thing. He called it the dimension fork. But by shifting vibrations in the universe, he can use this means of travel to go, well, he doesn't exactly know. But he's a ballsy dude, and he's an inventor, and his scientific curiosity gets the better of him. So one day he says, you know what, fuck it, this thing works. I'm going to walk through, and I'm just going to see what I find. And that's all you really learn. All you know is that Jebediah Morningside goes through the dimension fork, and the tall man comes out. And that's it. I mean, my theory has always been that when he goes through the dimension fork, he goes to the red planet, where they ship the killer midget monk guys and stuff like that. And essentially he comes in contact with some sort of a, parasitic being or something like that, and basically becomes the tall man in the form of a human, and uses the whole mortuary service as a means to become the dominating force in the universe. I mean, that's my theory. But they don't show it, but it's so intriguing the entire time. And there is sort of a sense of frustration that I have, admittedly. And the first time I watched the movie and I saw the end, I found about 3 different ways to interpret it, and I'm really not going to go into detail because I don't want to completely spoil the movie for everybody, but my initial reaction when watching that movie was, dude, what the fuck? No, that's bullshit. That can't be the ending, like, but then I went back and I watched the movie again several more times, and I'm sort of like, no, you know what? This was actually kind of cool. And all throughout high school, like, I longed for them to make a fifth Phantasm movie. They finally did last year. Fucking 18 years later, they finally made a fifth and final Phantasm movie. But, this whole time I'm like, kind of like thinking to myself, like, dude, I really want a fifth Phantasm movie. And as the years went by, my friends and I, we sort of gave up on the whole idea. So we were just sort of like, okay, OblIVion's the last one. And we were okay with that. We were okay with, that sort of what the fuck just happened kind of experience, because I sort of feel that is what Phantasm is. It's like Lost, like if you ever figure everything out about Phantasm, it wouldn't be Phantasm. Yesterday, I was on Facebook. I am Facebook friends with Reggie Bannister's wife, Gigi Bannister. I'm not friends with Reggie because his friends list is probably like at max capacity. I'm also friends with A. Michael Baldwin and Bill Thornberry, who are cast members, and they are just some of the most like gracious, awesome, humble people you can imagine. They interact with their fans all the time, and they're just really, really, really cool. We were talking about like the Phantasm DVD set that came with the Silver Sphere box, which I always thought was really cool, versus the new Blu-ray edition, which apparently has a lot of extra documentaries and stuff like that. And this one guy basically told me, he's like, well, dude, they have a really good Phantasm OblIVion documentary that's never before been released on the Blu-ray thing. I still have not seen it, but I mean, now that I know, I can't wait. But I was like, oh, that's cool, man, and I basically said, I'm like, I always liked OblIVion. I thought it was an underrated movie. It was actually my favorite of all the Phantasm sequels after the first one. And this was on a thread that Gigi Bannister created. And underneath, she basically said, she goes like, thank you, that was my favorite. And I was like, oh, fuck, made my fucking day. But no, it's a really cool movie, and if you're a fan particularly of the original one, even if you watched OblIVion and you didn't like it, I'd say maybe watch it again. Just give it one more shot. I just love the series. I really do, and it's great. And I will review Phantasms 1, 2, and 3, as well as Ravager at some point. I'll probably also have like a just general discussion of the Phantasm universe, and I'll probably have multiple people debating and talking about that. That'll be great. I'm going to at least reference Phantasm until I'm not doing this channel anymore. It's just a great horror series, and honestly, I highly recommend that everyone check out all of them. But that's my review for Phantasm OblIVion.